What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video we are looking at the Celtic tree signs, or more accurately the Druidic Zodiac. Now within Celtic culture, the Druids were the ones that sort of were essentially their priests, and they thought that the gods and stuff sort of lived within the earth, within trees, and that certain trees had more prominence within the forest, essentially. So if you see, if you look at a forest as being a pantheon, there were certain trees that were more revered, kind of like how in Greek mythology the Olympians are kind of like the big ones, and then there's other gods beneath them that are sort of still gods in equal measure, just less revered. That's what we're going to look at today. So there are two links in the description down below. This one gets a little bit confusing. I sort of touched on it in last month's video where I looked at the animal zodiac that the Celts had, and how even there were different interpretations. There's a completely different interpretation here. So the one that sort of went hand in hand with last month's video was the idea of there being a zodiac akin to the star signs, where it's just a circle and they keep repeating, and here's this month, here's this month, here's this month. So that's the one we're going to look at first. I'm going to scroll down to where am I going to start this bit? Okay, so in many ways, Celtic astrology based on ancient Ogham wisdom is far more dynamic than any other astrological systems. Celtic Druids, who created this special star-casting system, spent decades observing trees. In fact, Druids were able to see signs, omens, and divine future events just by the rustling of leaves. The same kind of intense invocations and divination were performed by the Druids by meditating upon the moon and her motions. So the moon and the trees or plants of the Ogham dovetailed together to offer us a sacred and forcible tool in our forecasting bag of tricks. These impressive forces in nature are extraordinary in their influence upon every human life. By delving into Celtic tree astrology based on the Druid Ogham, we gain uncommon insight into the human psyche, as well as the diversity nature offers us in remarkable and cosmic ways. Below you will find a summary of each of the 13 Celtic zodiac signs. Why 13? Because Celtic astrology is based on the lunar system, which revolves around the 13 phases of the moon. So each lunar year actually has 13 moons. So each lunar year is guaranteed a blue moon at some point. Now that might be 2 within a calendar month, or 2 within a astrological month. So sort of beginning and end of Cancer, for instance. As was the case this year with the blue moon in Aquarius. So this is a unique system of astrology in that the meanings of each sign are married to both the power of the moon and the infinite magic inherent in the trees of plants found in Celtic Ogham. The other thing that's sort of interesting about this is the moon dictates the tides, and then trees create air. So we're already sort of looking at 2 elements, essentially. If you count the trees as being part of the earth, we're looking at 3. The only thing not included is fire, and if we take like the light of the moon as just being the representative there, then their whole system is based on the 4 elements. So there are interpretations provided on this first one. This is the What's Your Sign link. It says here, I have provided my interpretation of the Celtic tree astrology signs. Hope you enjoy this perspective as much as I did while writing them. Click on the pictures or links for each sign to learn more about the tree within the Celtic Ogham context. So let's jump into it. We've got, starting off our year here. Now this one, the way they've got their list starts with the tree that includes January 1st as one of its dates, which is the Birch or the Achiever of the Zodiac. And it's December 24 to January 20, so it's our Christmas time one. It says here, if you're born under the energy of Birch, you can be highly driven and often motivate others as they become easily caught in your zeal, drive and ambition. You're always reaching for more, seeking better horizons and obtaining higher aspirations. The Druids attributed this to your time of birth, which is a time of year shrouded by darkness, so consequently you are always stretching to find the light. Birch signs are tolerant, tough and resilient, just like the tree. They're cool-headed and are natural-born rulers, often taking command when a situation calls for leadership. When in touch with your softer side, you also bring beauty in otherwise barren spaces, brightening up a room with your guile and charming crowds with your quick wit. Celtic tree astrology, Birch signs are compatible with vine and willow signs. Your Celtic animal is the stag or the deer, to sort of throw it back. We've then got the Rowan or the Thinker, January 21st to February 17th. I'll read this one as well. So it says, Celtic tree astrology recognises Rowan signs as the philosophical minds within the Zodiac. If you're born under the Rowan energy, you're likely a keen-minded visionary with high ideals. Your thoughts are original and creative, so much so that others often misunderstand where you're coming from. This sometimes makes you aloof when interacting with others, as you feel they won't understand where you are coming from anyway. Nevertheless, although you might appear to have a cool exterior, you are burning within from your passionate ideals. This inner passion provides inner motivation for you as you make your way through life. You have a natural ability to transform situations and people around you by your mere presence. You're highly influential in a quiet way and others look to you for your unique perspectives. Rowan pairs well with ivy and hawthorn, and your sign would be the cat. Now the other signs, I'm going to sort of leave it Rowan for a second and I'll explain why in a minute. But our other ones in the order are Ash, the Enchanter, which is also the snake or adder, the Alder tree, which is the Trailblazer, and it's the fox, the Willow, which is the observer, and it corresponds to the bull, Hawthorn, which is the illusionist, and it corresponds to, tell me what it corresponds to. Interesting. Oak, the Stabiliser, corresponds to the wren. Holly, which is the ruler, and I like that oak and holly are next to each other because there's a bit about them we're going to touch on in a second as well. They are akin to the horse. Hazel, the knower, is the salmon. Vine is the Equaliser. It is the one that is wholly within the one calendar month. It's the one from September 2 to September 29. So it's the swan. Ivy is the survivor, which according to this interpretation is my tree sign. So its animal is the butterfly. Then the reed is the Inquisitor, which makes it the wolf. And then last but not least is the Elder tree, the one that Harry Potter doesn't make wands out of because of its rank among the other trees. But it relates to the hawk. And if you are any of those, I mean, I didn't really mention dates, but if you're any of those, yeah, I'll leave, I think under each link, I'll leave the dates for each of them as well. So you can just have a quick look, like, okay, that's where I am at. And then you can just quickly jump to that bit. But yeah, so that's what we've got on that one. This other one is the bit where things get a little bit tricky. So this is our horoscopes.astroseek.com. It says here, Celtic Druids did not try to read fate from stars. They were connecting the birth of people with certain trees. They had a deep respect for trees, which they showed, for example, by asking trees that they cut down for forgiveness. Just like the Zodiac signs, individual trees represent the characteristics of people born in a given period. The tree can be in a tree circle once, twice, or 4 times. Note, Celtic Druids did not determine sign based off the actual date of birth, but rather by the date of conception, a thing that most of the other Zodiacs fail to put into place, as we will find out here in a second for this cycle, because like I said, this one's much different. For example, if you were born 3 weeks before the scheduled date, you need to add 3 weeks the actual date of birth in order to get the appropriate sign, because they've already reconfigured everything for you. So if you were born early or born late, you need to find out what your due date was and take that as your sign date for this site. This one will not have dates below it in so much as the list they've got here. Instead, I'm going to have the list of trees and their corresponding dates for if they occur, you know, once, twice, or 4 times. And so the order, if we start as close to the new year as possible, would be fir, elm, cypress, poplar, larch, pine, willow, lime, the oak, specifically only on the spring equinox for 1 day, then hazel, rowan, maple, walnut, poplar, chestnut, ash, hornbeam, aspen, birch on the June solstice for the 1 day there, then apple, that takes us to July 2nd, so back to the top, and then the cycle again, fir, elm, cypress, poplar, larch, pine, willow, lime, then the alder tree for the September equinox, hazel, rowan, maple, walnut, poplar, chestnut, ash, hornbeam, aspen, and then beech for the winter solstice, finishing the year out with the apple tree, which ends on January 1st. According to this, I am a Rowan tree, which is why I stopped on Rowan on the other one, because between this site telling me date of conception and I'm born in October, so 9 months before that, or roughly sort of 40 weeks, whatever it is before that, puts me close to the beginning of the year, and the Rowan tree was in late January, early February sort of thing. Yes. So both what this tells me is it being take your birth date, we've already done the math for you, and do the math for yourself according to this one. If I do it both ways, I end up with the same tree. Obviously, this doesn't follow that same cycle of only 13 trees. There's a lot more than 13 here. And then things like ivy. Is ivy on here? Or, no, vine. Vine's not on here anywhere. Actually, now I look at it, no, there's ivy. So a couple of the trees aren't there anyway. What I do like about this one though is it does give us the actual, this symbol here is actually the Ogham letter. That letter is Luesh, which is the letter L. Keywords, the strong keywords: endurance, responsibility. Weak keywords: feeling of inferiority. And its birth dates are April 1 to April 10 and 3rd of October to 11th of October. And then I'll read its characteristics and personality. People born under the rule of Rowan are usually gentle and subtle, or at least they give us this impression. These people have a gentle and fragile appearance, but inside they're strong and determined people who can defend themselves against anything bad that await them. Rowan people have a good taste, and they are often blessed with artistic talents. They give us the impression of closed people who do not like to be the centre of attention and who try to avoid big social events. They hate gossip, so you can absolutely trust them that they will never blabber things they know about your private life. Rowan people are ideal employees because they have a highly developed sense of responsibility. Although they can act independently and work with imagination, they are sometimes easy to manipulate. They often suffer from low self-confidence, and the lower their self-confidence is, the more they care about their dignity. Rowan people are good and reliable friends. They never talk much, but they never let anybody down. They'll never betray you. On the contrary, they'll often take care of other people's problems while they forget to take care of themselves. But they are not naive, and they do not let others use them. Rowan people are passionate lovers who can give up everything for the person they are in love with. They are picky and demanding. Their relationship is full of dramatic twists and often rather complicated because they can quickly change their mind. You cannot expect Rowan people to be loyal, apparently. Despite earlier saying that you have a good sense of responsibility, kind of going against that if you're not being responsible to your partner by being loyal. Just my opinion there. However, in marriage, they usually sort of show a sense for family life. Thanks to the strongly developed sense of responsibility, they often become strict guardians of the family budget and no less strict educators of their children. And then, if you were interested, they also have a list of celebrities born in the sign of the Rowan tree underneath. So for instance, mine's got like Jackie Chan, Hugo Weaving, Denny Jr. Who else we got here? Matt Damon. A couple of like a fair few big names. I'm only sort of cherry picking there. But yeah, so that one's very interesting. I'm actually wondering if it won't actually tell me the letter. I might have to leave a link so you can actually look at what the letter is. But the letter sort of takes us into what our next, and this, I've deliberately left these ones for this end of the year, in sort of the lead up to Christmas, because next month we're going to look at the runic signs from Norse mythology. But essentially, you can take the assigned to your tree sign, regardless of which way you choose. Like if you go with this one that already has it there for you, it's easy enough to just look up, go, okay, that's that letter, look up that letter's meaning as far as like a rune is concerned. The other way around, you have to actually look up what the of those 13 trees are to then do that search. But I'll try to leave as much of that information in the description as possible, because yeah, being a culture that didn't write down their own culture, the only information we have about the Celts is because of the Romans. So as much as I don't like Roman culture itself, I can't completely hate on them because they recorded Celtic culture, which is like my ancient ancestral culture anyway, so I can't fully hate on the Romans. Also, I literally learned Italian for 6 years, so yeah. But yes, that's all I've got for this video. Again, both links in the description down below, dates included. I will have a link to, I'll try to find a link to like some Ogham meanings and like what the actual alphabet is, what each tree is assigned to, all that sort of stuff. It might be one link, it might be multiple. I will label them as such in the description, so you can do your own little research into yourself if you'd like down in the description. Let me know in the comments what you end up being. I'm very curious to know. This being a sort of an astrology adjacent topic, I'm very interested in it, and sort of when I start getting into this a little bit more next year on my TikTok, I'm also going to be looking at like the pseudoscience of like the psychology behind it as well, because I think that that's a really interesting point to talk about. So I might as well start. I've only got like 6 videos on it at the moment, but I might as well start linking that in the description as well. So yeah, go there if you wanna be seeing all of my content that I'm posting there next year regarding these sorts of topics. And yeah, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. It would be greatly appreciated. And also hit that notification bell as well if you want to be notified when I upload new videos. Because that's how that button works. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And until next time, guys, keep your head screwed on.